Hi, this is Erica DELSIGNORE. I'm the founder of Daily Lead Campaign, where we find lots of leads, new clients, new revenue through YouTube advertising, LinkedIn advertising, and fantastic blogging strategies. I am super excited because today on my Great Minds, Great Marketing interview series, I've got Iman Aghay. And I met him just a couple months ago on the Marketer's Cruise. And boy, he was a celebrity. I think he must have spoken 3 times throughout the week, which was unprecedented. I think only one other person did that. And he was also very popular at what they call the Pizza and Profits, where every single night people stayed up all night asking him questions until 2 in the morning. I wasn't there to see that because I just can't stay up that late with the 3-year-old, but it was quite a sight to see for those that were there. So I want to thank you so much. Iman has got an incredible story, and he has been running his business for the past 4 years. He's been teaching info marketers, people like myself who have an expertise that they want to get out there into the world in an educational fashion, and he's come from being incredibly successful in his main country, and then moving to Canada without really knowing the language yet, and not becoming an overnight success because there was a struggle there. And I want to hear definitely about it because you have a fantastic family that supported you as well. But he's really got a riches to rags to riches story, I think, is a good way to put it. And so we want to welcome you today to the show. Thank you so much for joining us, Iman. And it's fantastic to have you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Erica, for having me here, and I'm excited to be here. And thanks for all the nice words. I'm super excited to share some ideas with your audience.
Oh, thank you so much. So, what I wanted I usually ask first is, how about what is your personal life like now? I know that you've made a lot of changes health-wise, and to really have that family life balance. I like to talk a bit about the personal before we jump into the business side of the interview.
Yeah, absolutely. So, in my personal life, it's just me and my wife, and we have a little cat. It's like a 1.5-year-old cat who actually has a personality disorder because he thinks he's a dog. So when we call him, he runs to us. When we say go upstairs, he runs upstairs and downstairs. And when we say stand up, he stands up. When we say we sits down, which is weird because cats don't do those stuff. And he plays fetch. So just kind of, anyhow, we have a ton of fun with him. And so that's just kind of like our family in a way. And my mom still lives in Iran, which where I'm originally from, and my sister lives in Germany. And just from time to time, sometimes we have family here in Canada, and most of the times we don't. So it's just me and my wife. But when we moved here, we actually didn't have any family at all. So in Canada, and so we made a lot of friends, and we got so close with those friends that those friends are family right now for us. And so,
those are the best kinds of families because you get to pick them.
yeah, actually, so we have actually very good supportive friends and family, and that's actually part of the reasons that, like in my academy, actually we see everyone as a family member. We travel together, we have fun together, we go to parties together, and although we are like from all over the world, but we get together in Vancouver and in other cities, and we just kind of hang out like family members while we have a lot of training and stuff. So that's kind of part of our values, part of the things is part of the company that I'm building, part of the culture of the company.
Fantastic. And I just want to say, like, that I think we should trade animals because one of my dogs acts more like a cat, and so kind of ignores everybody, pretends he can't hear you unless he wants food, tries to lay in your bed when you don't want him to, like all the stuff that cats typically do. He's a very aloof little Scottish Terrier, And yeah, I've always kind of wanted to find a cat that might, except that I'm definitely allergic to cats.
Oh,
Besides that, I do love that personality you were describing. It sounds like a really fun cat.
yeah, which usually you can find in dogs.
Oh my gosh, you know Jerry from the cruise? Jerry Kmiec? He's
Uh,
the Facebook expert.
what
He,
expert?
I interviewed him, and he has a hairless cat that he actually showed us during the interview, which was hilarious.
Okay, that's interesting. That's
It was
interesting. Yeah.
kind of like the one in Austin Powers, which I think I've seen once so many years ago. Well, perfect. So let's get into the story, because you were essentially a famous person in your home country, and talk about that and the decision to move to Canada, and what happened when you got here, which was such an incredible, as I said, riches to rags to riches story. Um, if you don't mind sharing.
Yeah, so, well, I can start my story from when I was 18, and it's just kind of like has a lot of ups and downs, right? There's no overnight success in anything. And when I was growing up, my dad was an entrepreneur, and well, he wasn't actually a very successful entrepreneur. He was an investor. He would invest on broke companies, make them successful, and sell those companies. He was really good with changing management and becoming really good at like building a right culture and marketing and all of those things. And probably like well, and during his life, like he had gone through lots of hardships and stuff. Like when he was growing up, actually, all he had during a day when he was 18, it was just one egg and a slice of bread, and that's all he had to eat, like for the whole day. And on an egg and a slice of bread, he got himself to the best university in the country, and he studied, and he became a very successful person. And then he kind of grew his business, and probably not probably, but he went through like several times of bankruptcy as like wrong investments or wrong moves and stuff. But overall, like he had that success. But he was really working hard. Like all his life, he worked really hard, and and by the time that I turned 12, there were times that I hadn't seen my dad for like 3 months in a row. Because although we were living in the same home, because he would leave home before we wake up and he would come back home after we went to sleep. And that would turn like 3 months in a row, 4 months in a row that it would happen. And so
Oh,
when I turned 12, like as a teenager, I started questioning everything, like all teenagers do. And so I went to my dad. I said, Dad, when do you want to stop the madness? Like seriously, when do you want to stop doing this? And he said, as soon as you turn 18, um, I'm gonna retire. And I was the youngest kid at home. So by the time that I would turn 18, he would be only 53. And so we were very happy for him. We were like, okay, you know what? So you have a plan. It's not that you're just interested in working hard. You actually want to work hard, but you want to retire early. So we're very
right.
happy for him. And when I turned 15, he was diagnosed with a disease called ALS.
Oh
And
no.
ALS kills the patient within 3 to 5 years. And when he turned 53, he passed away.
I'm so
He never
sorry.
retired, he never enjoyed his life, and he died with massive, massive regrets.
Oh,
And I inherited a lot of money as a result of my dad passing away. And I looked at his life and I said, I'm not gonna live like him. So I was 18, I had a ton of money, and I said, I'm gonna start a business, but I'm gonna do this lifestyle business. And I lost all the money that I inherited in about 3 months. So I always say like I have the record of losing the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time. And that night, when I kind of lost everything, I went home, and just coincidentally, one of my dad's friends, who happened that my dad helped him a lot in his business, came and knocked on our door and said, well, do you want to have coffee with me? I said, sure. I went to his place, we sat there, and he said, so what's up? And I said, well, I lost all of my dad's money today. And he said, well, do you like to have a business? And I said, well, I don't have any money. And he said this sentence that kind of changed my whole perspective about business. And he said, business is not about having money. business is about making money.
Right.
And if you want to have a business, I'm happy to take your hand and mentor you and help you build a business. And I said, sure. So the next day, I started my second business, and I sold that business when I was 23. I worked really hard. I worked 7 days a week, every day, 16 hours to 18 hours a day. And I sold that company when I was 23. And then as a result of that, I became a marketing consultant, and I started consulting with people and stuff, with companies. And by the time I was 25, I was the second most recommended marketing consultant in Iran, based on one of the websites that is equal to LinkedIn. And then at that point, we decided to move to Canada, because I thought, well, I'm 25 years old. I'm the second most recommended marketing consultant in the country, and I'm only 25. And so there is no, like, I need a bigger challenge. I need more growth. And so at that point, I decided to become an international professional public speaker, and we moved to Canada. But one part of that plan that didn't go as planned was that I was supposed to come here, and my mom was supposed to sell some of my properties and send some money to me. As soon as I landed here, I realized my money is not going to follow me. So we landed here.
Money was not going to what?
Is not going to follow me. So we are not going to receive that money. So I had $1,000 in my pocket, and I couldn't speak English properly. We didn't have any family or friends or network, and it was right after 2008 recession, which a lot of people were out of work. People didn't have jobs, like a lot of people were looking for work, and I had to go out and find a work. And my wife was studying full time at a college here to get her degree, kind of not degree, but to get a license, to get her diploma, that she could work in her own field. So she was studying full time. I was trying to find a job. I couldn't speak the language, so nobody would give me a job. And so that kind of continued until 11 months later, where we had about $2,500 left in our bank account. I had another $8,000 that I brought to Canada in Europe. So I brought that money as well, and so we had about $22,000 for 11 months, and we got to this point that we had $2,500 left in our bank account, and the significance of $2,500 was that the 2 one-way ticket to go back to Iran at that point were $2,500.
Okay.
And our cost of living every month was between $2,000 to $2,500.
Wow.
And I received this $1,000 bill that I had to pay.
Yep.
And I looked at it and I said, if I pay this $1,000, we're not going to have money to buy 2 one-way tickets to go back to Iran. And if we go back to Iran, then we are giving up on the past year and all of our dreams and everything. And as a person who go from being the second most recommended marketing consultant in the country to 11 months later making a decision between becoming homeless or giving up on a dream, I just couldn't do that. And I couldn't do that to my wife. I couldn't do that to myself. And I kind of had to have that conversation with my wife. So I went to her and I said, honey, we have a situation here, as you know, but you may not know the depths of it. But here's the situation. We can either give up and go back, or we can pay this $1,000 bill, but we are risking the chance of becoming homeless in the next 30 days. And she looked at me and she said something that changed our life. And she asked, have we ever given up on any of our dreams? And I said, no. And she said, so why would we give up on our dream now? Pay the money and we do what it takes to make it happen. You know, and there is sometimes that somebody believes in you more than you believe in yourself. That was that moment for me. That somebody, and my wife, believed in me more than I believed in myself. And this is not just like, hey, you know, like I believe in you, but I have nothing in the game, right? I don't have any skin in the game. It was like, I believe in you so much that I'm ready to become homeless with you.
Wow. That's
And,
love.
you know, and so I paid the $1,000 bill, and the countdown started, because life is not just, hey, we get motivated and do nothing, right?
Right.
So then we had 30 days to become homeless, and 29 days, and 28 days, and went all the way down to 17 days away from becoming homeless. Until that morning, I woke up and I realized I'm insane, you know? For the past 11 months, I've been waking up every morning, I've been looking for a job, and I haven't found a job. And still, I was looking for a job every day. And that's the definition of insanity.
Right.
Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized, like I'm saying, it's just I'm doing this the wrong way. And I said, and that day I decided to start my own business. And 3 days later, I found my first client. Apparently, I was good at marketing. and and that client paid us $1,800 as a down payment,
Phew.
which was the rent of the next month and the food. And next month, I found another client, and then the next month we found another one, and then my wife found a job, and then we got a loan, and you know, like all of that, and just continued to building the business. And then about 1.5 years later, I had a very large web design company, and so we were taking clients away from the companies who weren't hiring me. So at that point, I was actually very lucky that I realized I was so lucky that nobody hired me, because yeah, I just kind of surpassed all of them, and that's a part of my story. And then a little bit later on in my life, I ended up on my deathbed, where I realized that I've done all of this work to come to Canada to become an international professional public speaker, but I actually ended up owning a web design company and not being a speaker. And I closed down that company over one night, the web design company, and I dropped it overnight, and I built my coaching business, which is Success Road Academy. And so, like right now, Success Road Academy is one of the largest information marketing academies in the world. We have 15,000 students. We have programs all the way from $20 to $75,000 a year, and you know, like the whole success parts of it. Which today, like I take 10 weeks of vacation every year, and you know, work in different style, and just kind of can work from wherever I am, do whatever I want, and yeah, kind of like that's the new lifestyle. Very different things.
Wow, that's amazing. So 15,000 students, are they mostly in Canada, or is it pretty much evenly spread out around the world?
Great question. So until beginning of 2015, I wasn't a Canadian citizen, so I was only allowed to travel inside Canada. So I built a very big base in Canada, but when we went in 2015, I became a Canadian citizen. I could start traveling to different places without any, you know, visa issues and stuff. Our base actually expanded, and we took the business online actually in 2015, where we actually expanded. So right now we have clients in Australia, in a lot of clients in the US, we have clients in Switzerland. I think we have clients in about 36 countries right now. Yeah, but our big base until 2015 were mainly Canadian. But right now is actually all over the place. And obviously, because I'm in Vancouver, and I'm one of the things that I do, I run a group called Entrepreneurs International Network, which is a network of entrepreneurs. We have 26 chapters in 5 countries and 26 cities in the world. And the first one that I ran was in 2010 in Vancouver. It has about 10,000 members today. 10,300 members, something like that in Vancouver. And I expanded it to all of these countries last year. So actually today and yesterday were kind of the first anniversary of the first groups that I expanded last year. So so right now it has about 32 or 33,000 members in all of these cities and countries. But as I said, like because I started in Vancouver, I have a kind of a bigger base in Vancouver right now. But definitely our clients are all over the place.
Oh, that's fantastic. I'm already like thinking like you're it's like being a competitor to like a BNI or something like that, where it's an international networking group and it's just in every single country. That's really impressive. So congratulations. I had no idea how big you were when I invited you on here. And you've grown so fast. That's amazing.
I think one of the things that I really liked about one of the sentences that Evan Pagan says, and I highly believe in, is the success of entrepreneurship is all about the speed of implementation.
Right.
Right? And it's just like how fast can you implement your ideas, and that's the key. It's like if you want to succeed, but the thing is that I do one thing at a time. I create a system and then I delegate it to another person or I automate it. So I don't need to do it. So for example, like a lot of people say, how do you do all of these things? Because we have a book publishing sector in my company and we have like Entrepreneurs International Network, we have Success Road Academy, we have TEDx Stanley Park, like we have all of these things. And so people say like, how do you do all of this? Well, I'm not the guy who is doing them. I'm the guy that created the system. So for Entrepreneurs International Network, I have a person that he takes care of it, and every week we speak for half an hour. So I had the system, and I spent about 40-50 hours training Brady, who runs Entrepreneurs International Network, but Brady and I only speak half an hour a week. Brady is the guy who is running it. And so on and so forth. Like on my book publishing side, I only talk to them like half an hour a week, and we prepare a 3,000 to 10,000 word booklet every week. But I just talk to them like half an hour a week if it's necessary. Some weeks even I don't talk to them at all for the whole like 2-3 weeks in a row, right?
So how many hours a week do you work? How many hours a week do you work?
On my regular weeks around 40. On the weeks that we have events, well, because there is an event that goes up to 70 to 80 hours. But then I take 10 weeks of vacation every year where I actually log out of social media, I log out of my emails, I don't check my, like I even actually have another cell phone that when I'm on vacation, I actually use the other cell phone. So, you know, it's just kind of like being out of reach. And yeah, so generally, like if we are talking about hours, an average, I do about 32 hours a week, considering all the vacation time and everything. So 32 hours spread out over 52 weeks in a way.
That's perfect. But unlike most people, you're not spending those 32 hours working in the business. You have actually taught other people to work in your business. You're managing each of those facets for about a half hour to an hour a week, and you're watching those things grow, and you're just able to spend time innovating. Do you have a certain amount of time every week that you just try to like work on the business and think of new things to implement?
Yeah, so the way that I look at my time is that I do actually work in business, so I don't see myself only work on business, although I work on business as well. But here is the way that I see my role. My role in my business is building systems, not doing the work. So every time that we are launching anything new, it's me who is doing it. Now, this might not be the best way, and many people may not like it. They're like, oh, you know, hire a professional person and get them to come in and do blah, blah, blah. That doesn't work for me. I got to figure things out by myself. I got to create them by myself. I'm a very, I like the systems to work really fast, and if they don't work fast, they get me tired. And, you know, with my experience of hiring professionals and get them to do it, I really realize they're slower than they have to be. So anyhow, like for example, like in my web design company, Usually a web designer spends about 40 to 60 hours on designing a website. My team could design their website in 4 hours. But then I was the guy who created that system, so we could finish a website within 4 hours. Now I'm usually, like, I see my role as the person who creates the system. So always I'm the person who learns the new things and does the new thing. But then when I'm doing it, I always wonder, what's the fastest way of doing it? How can I create it in a system? How can I put it into a system that is easy to train somebody else to pick it up, or use a system to pick it up? And then we do that. The other thing is that I always look at it this way. I say, every person, whether the person is making $30,000 a year, $300,000 a year, $3 million a year, or $30 million a year, all of us have 24 hours a day, right? So, and that's the most important asset that we have. We have 24 hours a day. Now, one of the things I actually get all of my students do, especially my mentorship students, I get them for 3 days, to log every single activity that they do for 3 days in a row. Like every single thing. They wake up, brush their teeth, go to washroom, like to the minute, right? I get them to log every single thing they do, and then we divide it to 3 times: personal time, rest and recovery time, and business time. And then we look at their business time, and I always ask them, how much would you pay a person to do each of these activities for you? Okay, so you'll go back to the times that you are working on your business. What do? You are doing some work, and then you say, hey, I got to message this person on Facebook. You go to message that person on Facebook. You see this video. You start watching that video. Half an hour later, right? You are still watching things that is not work related. How much would you pay a person to do that work for you? 0. Why are you doing it? Why are you doing it? Right?
That's a great question.
Because here is the reality. Even if you are paying a person $10 an hour to do that work, that's not the work that you should do. Even if you are paying a person $20 or $50 an hour. Now, let me explain this. If you want to make $100,000 a year, the average activities that you do every hour should be worth $50 an hour. Okay? You work $2,000 an hour a year. So if you want to make $100,000, the value of your average activity should be $50 an hour. These include the works that you do. $0 per hour, you would pay another person $0 per hour or $100 per hour. You want to make $1 million? Activities that you do every hour on average should be worth $500. Now, if you think about it that way, then you sit there and you think about your life and you think about the things that you do. You're like, do I even have any activity that I would pay a person $500 an hour? If you don't, then you gotta find them. What are the activities that are worth $250, $300, $500, $1,000 an hour worth that you should be doing, so everything else can be done by other people?
So a great example would be, there's a couple examples I can think of. Like right now, you and I are having an interview, and it's being broadcast to lots of people right now on Facebook, but then it will be broadcast to through a blog to millions of people in the next couple of weeks. So whatever offer you make, you're going to get some traffic from that. But really, nobody can do this interview but you, and nobody can do this interview but me. And so that would be a great example of something that really only I can do, because I'm the face of my business and you're the face of your business. Another good thing is, like, I have a TV interview coming up on Friday. I can't send someone to go do that. I have to be the expert. So that'll be something that I need to do. I make sure, like, all the time I spend preparing for that, because I like, when I do TV interviews, they have to I try to do a slightly different topic every time, so I can turn those into blogs that I put out into millions of people, and I have lead generators and asks and all that. So there's a whole idea behind it. And for you especially, you have all these events. I've only had one of my own events. I've spoken at a few events. I'm just getting the info marketing part of my business going. But you have to do a lot of the event. I mean, you can probably give pieces off to certain people, but you're the guy that they want to spend all that money for. So you could literally get on stage for, 90 minutes and maybe on somebody else's stage, and you can make 50 to a couple $100,000 selling a product. I mean, that's
Yeah, absolutely.
definitely like to give the audience some ideas of like what high dollar per hour activities you should be doing if you're a millionaire.
Yeah, absolutely. And like for example, and sometimes it's not like really that 1 hour. It's like the average, right? So for example, like I can tell you, some of the hours, like the 1 hour is worth $200,000 for me, right?
Right,
Uh,
right.
some of the times that 1 hour is worth like $5,000. Like actually last week, because I'm actually training 2 new team members here, and they're actually picking up some of the coaching clients and stuff for us. And part of that training with us is that they shadow me for 6 months. And so they see everything that I do. I train them on a regular basis between my training and stuff. Like when I'm coaching other people, I come and train them as well. And so for example, I think it was 4 days ago, that I was having a one-on-one conversation with a person. We talked about everything. Like we talked about like how we had fun, on the beach, and we had talked about how we had fun, like on different things, blah, 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 blah. And then at the last 5 minutes of that conversation, he put me on his calendar to do a webinar to his list. And when we finished the conversation, I hung up and I said, guys, this was a $20,000 call. And they
Right.
looked at me and they're like, what? I'm like, okay, so here's how it happens. We had this call, 1 hour. He put me on his calendar. He can probably bring about 300 to 400 people on a webinar for us. And on that webinar, from 200 to 300 people, we can convert about 20 to 30 of those customers to $1,000 product at least. So that's a $20,000 to $30,000 direct sales. However, one thing that you should realize is that also that 1.5 hour that I'm spending with this guy on the webinar is also an additional marketing for us, because the people who are spending the $1,000, they come to our 3-day live event and they invest in our mastermind program anywhere from $15,000 to $75,000. And usually, well, our conversion rates are really high, so we usually convert about 50 to 80% of people in the room to that $15,000 to $75,000 level, which is unheard of in the industry. And like well, there are reasons for it. We just give a ton of value to our customers. But then I said, well, that 1 hour that I'm spending plus that 3-day. Within the 3 days, I'm spending, for example, for the 3 days, I'm spending about 25 to 30 hours running that event. And we come out of the event with $100,000 to $300,000 in sales from that 3-day event, with only like having 10 to 15 people in the room. So you see, like it's not just every single hour or every single minute, but it's just kind of average of the hours that you're, right? It's like what
If you
it.
have your back end set up, then you should be able to make it. You really don't even know until you start having, because you have a pretty new info marketing business, but some of these people are going to spend money with you for the next 3 or 4 years, and every year they're going to spend 15 to 75,000, depending on what level they're at, and then they may even use your back end services in addition to that. So. I mean, how often that 1 hour you spent with the guy originally?
Yeah, usually we don't have another upsell after that. Like usually, like that's one of the attractions of us, is that like when they're in our mentorship program or stuff, it's an all-you-can-eat thing. So it's like we don't upsell them after that level. It's just they gotta cover like their own travel costs, but we don't upsell them. Like we don't keep upselling people on like different things. And that's one of the attractions of our packages and stuff. They don't feel like they're keeping being upsold. But as you said, it's like I always say, like business should be wide enough and deep enough. Okay. Now, what wide enough means is that your business should be wide enough so it attracts enough number of people to itself, right? Like, for example, like one of the things that you said, I was very popular on the marketers cruise. Now, this is weird that I say it, but for example, like when we were going to Pizza and Profit, from night to night, we had like 40, 50 people to 100, 150 people like sitting around me. and asking questions and stuff during Pizza and Profit or before Pizza and Profit. Which, by the way, for those of you who haven't attended Marketers Cruise, Pizza and Profit is a gathering that starts at 11 p.m. and goes up to like 4 or 5 a.m. And so people get there and like do JV deals and stuff. So I used to go there at 10 p.m. and like people would come there and ask me questions and stuff. And so, but the reason for that is because our business is wide enough, and our message resonates with people. And I see that a lot of times that many people actually have these challenges that they're like, hey, you know, what is the like I have problem telling people what I do. You know what I mean? Like I've seen that a lot, that people say, you know, I can't really tell people exactly what I do in a short time. And so you gotta find that sweet spot that when you say what you do, right away you attract your dream customers. And then you should be deep enough so you create profitability within your funnel, right? So so that's like, for example, for us, our dream customer wants to create and sell online courses, but that's the beginning point. Our dream customer is actually a customer who has a knowledge and message, wants to share that with a ton of people, and wants to make a positive difference and change in other people's lives. And the online course is a great vehicle to use to share that knowledge, right? So when I'm outside, when I'm in public, people ask me, what do you do? I say, I teach people how to create and sell online courses. Now, if you come and ask my mentorship students, they're like, what? No, like that's just one out of like 200 million things that Iman does. But that sentence attracts. So if you go back to my mentorship students, it's like, so where did you start? They're like, we started with an online course with Iman, you know, because that was the course. That was what attracted them. So it's like wide enough that attracts the right people, but it's deep enough that creates profitability. And
so
then,
just for those of you out there, yeah, this point that Iman is making is an incredible point, because a lot of times people do try to explain what they do for a living, and they either have too much detail and they lose the audience, or you know, they really aren't saying the right thing to attract the people that they want. I mean, even if you have a message, if you're trying to be the cheapest person and you're trying to bring in people that don't really have money, and then you're expecting, you know, so whatever you said in the beginning is attracting those people, but those are not the people that are going to be able to buy from you in the long run the higher-end products that you have. And so, I mean, that's just one example. If that's what you want to do, that's fine. Use those types of that type of terminology when you're introducing yourself. You know, but if you're trying to find, you know, the higher-end people and your prices are different, then you know you're going to, you know, you may have something low end to get them in, but you're going to want to really position yourself the right way in the beginning to get the right audience. But having that one sentence to get a wide enough audience is absolutely key. But because I want to really respect your time, I know that you probably have everything scheduled out by the half hour or even 15 minutes. We have about 10 minutes left. And, you know, typically I'll ask, one great question I love to ask is, what are some of the great marketing strategies, like a combination of strategies that you've seen have people get the most results? And then the last question, just, you know, because I want to respect your time, is, you know, just what do you want to offer the audience? And I want to give you that opportunity. I know you have some, you know, fantastic free gifts that you give out occasionally. I'm not saying it has to be free. We didn't even really talk about what you wanted to offer, so I'm going to leave it up to you, and you know, we'll edit that into the video that goes out there after and everything. But first, what are the marketing strategies that have really, you know, that you've seen a lot of results from?
Okay, that's actually a great question, and the reality is that so that's why actually I talk a lot about creating and selling online courses. Okay, now I got to tell you a little story. Is after I dropped my web design company, I started leveraging my knowledge and message and building my coaching business with public speaking. So I went out and I started doing public speaking after public speaking after public speaking, and by 2014 I was doing 200 live events personally a year. So every year I was like traveling between 4 cities, Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton, Toronto, and doing an evening event here, driving to the next city, doing a morning event there, flying to the next city, doing a weekend event there, and then coming back and then doing like another day-long event in Vancouver. And it's just like kind of like we had like all of this like going on. And so we had all of these happening. And well, obviously, I was tired. I was, not spending time with my family. My business was growing. We were financially secure. We had good life financially, but I didn't have a life, you know.
Right.
And we
What's it all for?
yeah, exactly, right. And so and in mid 2014. I was extremely burnt out, and I had a breakdown on the stage right before starting a 2-day seminar,
Wow.
where I actually left the room before starting a 2-day seminar, went to my room, and I gave myself 3 months. I said, you have 3 months to change your business model, and that business model should be a business model that creates the same financial security or better, shares your knowledge and message with the same number of audience or more, but give you a lifestyle business so you can grow your business but have a life. And when and then, well, like when you set a new goal, you get new energy. So I went downstairs, I did that event. It's not that I didn't do the event. I did the event. I came back to Vancouver, but we canceled all of our future events. And then when I had that 3 months, during that 3 months, we took our business online and we started creating online courses. Now, as I said, in 2014, we went 85% online. 2015, we went 100% online. And one thing that I really like about online courses, and the reason that I chose online courses at that point, was because with online courses, you have an automated system that attracts a lot of clients to you and builds a very good relationship and helps you to share your knowledge and message in an automatic way. And at the same time, it qualifies people and creates a very solid group of people who want to learn more from you. So I like going after online courses, but not going after only $20, $30, $50, $100 online courses. One thing to remember is that even our $75,000 package is big in online course. So even on our $75,000 package, I worked with people online. I meet them online. I talk to them online. Like where I'm sitting right now is my office. That's it. This is my office. And if I'm in a hotel, that's my office. Okay?
Right.
And so that's what I like about online courses. Online courses attracts the right group of people who want to learn, but also because you can charge them, it qualifies people. Unfortunately, there are lots of people out there who want to get the knowledge but don't want to pay for it. Right? Now, some people don't have the money, and you want to help people, right? And you always help. But then at the same time, you got to have a business. Otherwise, like you want to be a leader, but you don't want to be a broke leader, right? And not to be a broke leader, you got to make money, and you got to work with qualified people who are committed to get results. And I always tell people, I say, when a person pays me $5,000 an hour to spend an hour with me one-on-one, do you think when I tell that person, go and do this market research, they question it and they say, oh, like, let me think about it and come to you like 2 weeks from now and say I did nothing? No. They go out and do the market research because next week they're going to come back, they're paying another $5,000 for another 1 hour. They get the freaking work done because they are committed people. And that's why they get the results. They go from $500,000 to $5 million a year in 1 year because they are committed people. And those are the people that you want to work with. You want to find the qualified people. You want to find the committed people. And the courses allow you to automatically create this process that you can teach people who are interested but don't want to pay, people who want to pay a little bit and get the content, but then at the same time, so we call them interested, the people who are interested and don't pay. And then we have these people who are interested and want to pay somehow, like $2,000, $3,000, $20, $200, whatever, right? And then we have this committed group of people who are willing to invest $15,000, $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 to work with you. And those are the committed people who get the biggest results.
Right.
Right? So that's why looking at an online course, and I always say, if you don't have an online course, make sure that you remember this. Who are the interested people in your business, and how you can create a qualified group of people and committed group of people. And no matter what industry you are in, you can use a course to create a followership for yourself so you become a leader. And that's why on our shirts, this is the official shirt of our company, says I'm a leader. If you look at my students, all of my students have an I'm a leader shirt. When we hang out, we wear our I'm a leader t-shirt, because when you build your business, you gotta build your business as a leader, not just as a business owner who wants money, but a leader cannot be a broke person. You're a leader when you share your knowledge, you change other people's lives, but at the same time earn money that you deserve because of the change that you're making in other people's lives. Okay?
Well, one would think that they're signing up to learn from you with these higher dollar programs because they don't want to be broke. So
yes.
You're broke. Why would they pay you to learn from you?
Yeah, and I tell you, it's not always like, not every person needs to have a program that teaches people how to make money. For example, like I have a lot of students who are in health world, or in, like they're teaching people about health, they're teaching people about, how to have a healthy relationship, or how to communicate better. And not all of that, or how to lose weight, right? They're not necessarily always related to, like, you should have money, so I want to learn from you. But like, if somebody looks at me and says that, right, because I'm teaching people how to make money. But for example, like when a person goes to a weight loss person, but on the other hand, I'm like, you are teaching people how to lose 30 pounds in 6 weeks in a healthy way, and you can't afford not working 12 hours a day? That's just sad.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's your fault. It's nobody else's fault. It's your fault, because you never took the time to learn. And by the way, because you're working 12 hours a day because you don't have an online course. just so we're clear. But
yeah, you need to have the online course.
Right. So anyhow, so that's why I see, like, and that's why we always talk about online courses. It's like, you gotta have an online course, you gotta create an online course, and you gotta use your online course not just as a source of income, as a marketing strategy.
Exactly. You're moving these people down the funnel and into bigger things as they get to know, like, and trust you, and as they really get to know, like, and trust your program.
Exactly. Exactly. Right.
So we're coming up to the end here, and it's just been an incredible hour with you. I probably I'm getting this hour of information from you for free, so it's been fantastic. What is it you'd like to offer the audience today?
Yeah, so one thing, actually, every time I talk about online courses, the first thing that goes to the audience's mind is this. Well, I don't know about technology. Like, what should I use? Like, what are the tools? Like, I don't know anything about the tools. I'm scared of tools. I don't know about the camera. I don't know how Iman looks so white here and his background is so white. It's like, what are you using, right? Like I know, like, as soon as we talk about, online courses and creating things like that, right away the first thing comes to my mind of people is like, hey, I'm overwhelmed with technology. Okay, so what I like to give everyone on the call is I would like to give you a report. It's actually a gift. It's actually a list that cost me $50,000 to put it together. And the reason they cost me $50,000 to put it together is because when I started, I spent $50,000 on buying wrong tools. I bought the tools that weren't the best tools. I spent so much money on like setting this tool up, and we created like everything we could, and then the tool couldn't do one thing, and that one thing caused like the whole thing collapsed. And then we spent like so much money on another tool, and it's like, so long story short, I wrote a booklet. It's about 30 pages of every single tool you need to use that help you create and sell your online courses and help you build your funnels. And I can actually give you the link so you can put it at the bottom of the video, or I can actually say it right now, but it's your choice, whichever you want.
Say it because we're live, and then I definitely will edit it into the video.
Okay, so you can actually download it from ultimatecourseformula.com, and depending on when you go to that page, if you go to that page right now, you can actually see a video series also that talks about the online courses and stuff. If you go a few weeks from the time that we are recording this, you will actually get invited to a webinar, and I highly recommend that you watch that webinar, because on that webinar I explain exactly how you can use an online course to build your business, whether you're selling a regular product or you're selling your knowledge, and you can actually learn a lot about the 8 steps that you can use to create your course in about 60 days. Hundreds of my students have used the system and they get great results. So you can actually watch that webinar and learn about the processes, like how to put your course together.
And just for those people that think that, you know what, I don't have anything to teach, you know, maybe you own a copy center or, you know, something to that degree, I guarantee there's always something, some kind of education that you can offer that gets people in the front door a lot faster, so that you can sell them those back-end services.
Oh, yeah,
so,
absolutely. Do we have like 3 minutes for me to tell a story?
Oh yeah, no, I have the time. I'm trying to respect your time. I don't have I have to do it 4.
I'm gonna have my lunch 3 minutes shorter, but so I'm gonna tell you a story actually of one of my students who actually went through the course and built a course, and everybody will look at him and they're like, really? But I'm gonna actually tell you that story. It's like one of my students, Luke Bowen, he sells smart water damage sensors, and you're like, what? So these are the sensors that they actually set up at home, install several places in home. So if you have a water damage, it stops the water. That's all it does. It just turns off the water, right?
Okay.
Now usually people would look at him and it's like, how are you going to use a course to sell water sensors to corporations, to these builders, to these companies, right? And so here's what he did. He said, when people have a water damage, who do they go to? Insurance brokers, because they got to get their insurance, right? They got to get the insurance to pay for that water damage. And he said, the thing is that 80% of people who have a water damage today, they will get another water damage in the next 6 months. That's the statistics. Every person who has a water damage gets another water damage in 6 months. So when you have the second water
damage, I'm a little worried about this.
You just had the water damage? Okay. So the second time that they have the water damage, their insurance goes through the roof. Okay? The first time the insurance company covers. The second time the insurance goes through the roof. So he created a course for insurance brokers on the importance of water damage prevention. Guess what the product in this water damage prevention course was? His product. But here's what he did. He made the course free, and he went to insurance brokers associations and got the course accredited. Insurance brokers need to study several credits every year to renew their license. Those courses are all paid, so $300, $500, $1,000.
Yeah.
His course is free. So the insurance brokers love studying his course because his course is free, and they get accredited. What do they learn about these smart sensors? Who the smart sensor seller is? Him.
Yeah.
His referrals from insurance brokers tripled from a free course. So yes, you may be in a position that you think, I don't have something to teach, right? Or my target market isn't buying from courses. Obviously, a builder isn't sitting there studying an online course. But is the builder the only person who is buying this? No. The homeowners don't have any interest in learning about water damage until they get a water damage. But who sees all of these people who get all the water damages? The insurance brokers. So that's the promotional partner. And a half an hour course for these promotional partners, they give them 1 credit, tripled his sales from insurance brokers referrals. You see, so that's why I say it's very important that you watch that webinar. Because when you watch that webinar, that is after you download the ebook, you can actually watch that webinar. And when you watch that webinar, you get all of that, like all the ideas on like how you can use online courses to transform your business and the way that you are building your business.
I think that's fantastic. And I think that that's going to be eye-opening for a lot of people out there that don't realize that what they're doing. It's some really cool strategies, education-wise, that can bring in lots. Because hey, look at what I'm doing now. I invented this interview series. I went on this cruise and I met all of these people that are making millions in info marketing. And instead of saying, hey, this is what I do, I'm a lead generator, blah, 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 I'm like, hey, can you come on my interview and on my show? And then I can use this interview with these incredibly intelligent people to, put out on social media and help attract people. And it puts me in the place of the expert and interviewing experts. So, I get to be in a higher echelon because of that. And that's a really simple strategy. And just like what you were saying, how intelligent is that to put out some free information about something that's going to make their job a lot easier and that their clients are going to appreciate. But hey, by the way, I'm the one that's selling the sensor. I think that story is amazing. So, but it's really just about being creative in your marketing and how you can use education, either free or paid, to help build those back-end sales up. So this is so.
Yeah, and I tell you, like, actually the system that we have, it's like you don't even need to have the idea now, because when you follow the system, you do a market research, and in that market research, people exactly tell you what to do. So it's not that, like, for example, like, I think Luke had the idea, but a lot of my students, when they start, they have no idea. And then they go through there's an 8-step process, and step 2 is a market research. They give them all those ideas. And step 3 and 4, we actually find the best idea and we launch that best idea. So yeah, it's something that's like, hey, I don't have any idea now. Well, I didn't have any idea first. We did the research. Based on the research, we found the idea, the right thing to do.
Absolutely. So give us the website one more time before you go.
ultimatecourseformula.com. Okay.
ultimatecourseformula.com. That is where you are going to have the opportunity to see some videos and sign up for Iman's strategic 30-page book that he paid over $50,000 of trial and error and using all these softwares for his business. You're going to get in that book all of the types of softwares and tools that you need to have an info marketing business. And let me tell you, I've never had more fun than I have starting this type of business up. And as you can tell, Iman's having a lot of fun.
Yeah. That's for
Especially
sure.
now that he's not on his deathbed because of working so hard.
Yes. Well, thank you very much, Erica, for having me here. This has been great, and I'm excited for seeing all of you guys on our website and working with you, and you can watch our webinar and stuff. And just make sure that you stay in touch.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you very much, audience, for tuning in today. You have been watching Great Minds, Great Marketing, my interview series with experts. And this is Erica Del Signore. I'm the founder of Daily Lead Campaign. I look forward to seeing you next time.